No matter how hard it is, one thing we're not going to do today is talk about that grill, even though it doesn't really look that bad over here. My name is Omar, and today I'm test driving the 2021 BMW M3, the non-competition one, the one with the 6-speed manual transmission. In a world where we're headed towards electric cars and self-driving cars at an insanely fast speed, it's nice to see a car that's offered with a 6-speed manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. You see, the BMW M3 is not only one of the most important performance cars to BMW, it's one of the most important performance cars, period. This thing has legacy, it has heritage, and no matter what anybody says, at some point in their life, they've aspired to own a BMW M3. Now, before I give you a tour of this thing, let's talk about how it drives really quick. And if you want to see it go crazy on a track and do some crazy drifting, you have Chris Harris for that. Over here, I'm just going for a cruise on everyday normal roads, and living in this atmosphere, the BMW M3 feels completely outstanding. This thing isn't insanely rough. In fact, it's quite smooth. No matter what mode you're in, the BMW M3 won't break your back. Of course, my test model here doesn't have the expensive upgraded bucket seats, which look really cool. With that being the case, they're not only comfortable, they are heated and cooled, which I guess is something that I care about. So yeah, you will have no problem using the BMW M3 as your daily driver and go for a nice cruise and comfort mode. But if you would like to let loose, you can simply hit one of those M buttons on the steering wheel, seeing as you've gone through and preset it to your most extreme settings, and you can really just let loose, and this thing will be a lot of fun. Power is sent to the back. You can shift through the gears yourself, just how a sports car is meant to be. Now, there's really nothing special about this manual transmission. It feels just like every other regular BMW manual transmission. It's just fun to do the work yourself and feel a connection with the car. This 6-speed manual transmission also has launch control, but unfortunately I was unable to actually do the launch control with the crazy weather that we've been having in the Northeast, and I'm not about to get myself in trouble with the road still being wet, especially since this isn't my car. But later on I will show you how to activate launch control. I just didn't have a safe place or the weather to do it. But that's okay, because driving this on everyday normal yet damp roads has been just as fun. You could just simply downshift, hit the gas, and take off. This is a feeling that I'm really going to miss, especially because I'm on my way to return this to BMW after driving around for a week. If you enjoy driving a proper sports car, then you're definitely going to enjoy this. There's not much else to say about the new BMW M3 with the manual transmission, except that it's every bit of M3 and more. That said, let me give you a tour of the 2021 BMW M3, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if you should buy this over the competition. Well, not the M3 competition, I mean the rivals. Well, the M3 competition too. I'll give you my explanation on that. Hit subscribe, hit like. All right, let's do this. All right, so before we get into everything else, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things that you should know about the new M3. And even though this is a manual, it has launch control. So yeah, for the first time, the new M3 and the new M4 have launch control for the manual transmission models. To activate launch control, it goes without saying you want to have everything in the most extreme setting for a proper launch control. And then you want to hit the DSC button right here, which will take you into MDM or M dynamic mode. The reason you don't want traction off is because with DSC off, you can end up doing smoky burnouts. So once you're in MDM mode, you pop it into first gear, then you push the accelerator all the way down. You'll see preparing launch control right there, and then you'll see launch control active. And then as soon as you see launch control active, you have a 5-second window to ease off the clutch and shift through the gears and do your launch control. Next up, let's check out all the performance elements that you can configure. So if at any point you want to configure anything in the M3, you can just hit this setup button right here. And that will bring you to a screen where you can circle through different modes for the engine, the gear shift assistant, which basically helps you rev match when you're downshift. You can also adjust the chassis, steering, the actual brake feel. And if you have DSC all the way off, you can adjust your M traction control, which will allow you to adjust the amount of wheel spin from 0 to 10, 10 being the most stable and 0 being all out crazy. And obviously you don't have to do this every single time, because you can simply go into the M menu and set up your M1 and M2 buttons to whatever setting you want. For example, for my M1 setting here, I have everything set to sport except the chassis. I always like that to be in comfort for my daily drive. And for my M2 button, I have everything set to the most extreme setting that will probably take me to jail. Now, when you turn off DSC traction control all the way, you'll see something that says Start M Drift Analyzer. So the new M3 and M4 have something called the M Drift Analyzer, which will actually record the time, the distance, and the angle of your drift, and then it will actually score your drift out of 5 stars to either make you feel really good about yourself or really bad about yourself. I unfortunately can't show you that since I'm not on a track, but this is the coolest sports car feature ever. Well, until you realize you're going to be going through tires to hit the 5 stars. Tire companies will love this feature. By the way, there is an easier way to access M Drift Analyzer. You can go into the M menu and go into M Drift Analyzer from here. And then from here, you can change your M traction control and turn off DSC. It will actually warn you to turn off DSC before you start drifting. And that really does it for the cool and interesting features of the new M3 here specifically. But if you want to see some other new cool BMW features, check out my other BMW reviews. I've linked my BMW review playlist in the description below. So how much does the new M3 cost? For the base model, you're going to pay $69,900. And if you go for the M3 competition, you're looking at $72,800. As tested here, I'm about $92,000. And you can max out the new M3 with every option possible for over $102,000. And that's absolutely insane because this isn't even the M3 competition. It seems like it's so easy for cars these days to cross the $100,000 mark. But yeah, let's take a look at what makes my test model cost $91,900. You've got the upgraded wheels right here for $1,300, and these look outstanding. I would actually pay extra for these. And then I also have the upgraded M carbon ceramic brakes for $8,150, which is the most expensive option that you can get. I also have the second most expensive option, which is the M carbon exterior package for $4,700, and that will give you carbon fiber elements all around the car, including the intakes. Then you have the side view mirrors in carbon fiber and the spoiler in carbon fiber. Hop inside, and my test model has the Silverstone black upholstery for $2,550, and it actually looks really, really nice. The interior on my test model also has the carbon fiber trim, which costs $950. And it actually gives you carbon fiber trim on the steering wheel, which looks really cool. My test model also has the $2,800 executive package, which adds gesture control, which I usually just turn off because I move my hands a lot and I always activate it. You also get a heads-up display, icon adaptive LED headlamps with laser lights, a wireless charger, which is right here under the armrest. The executive package will also give you a power trunk, so it's easier to close it and more convenient. You also get a heated steering wheel. And then my test model adds on ventilated seats for an extra $350. And if you want the M Drift Analyzer system that I showed you earlier, you'll have to pay an extra $900 as a part of the M Drive Professional option. So if you're interested in the new M3, yeah, you can get it for right under $70,000. Just make sure you go through the options list and pick everything that you need and some things that you want, but don't max it out because it can get really expensive. Let's talk horsepower and torque. Power comes from a 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6-cylinder engine pumping out 473 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque, and that's mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, you can't get the M3 in an automatic. You'll have to step up to the M3 competition for that, and the M3 competition actually doesn't have a manual transmission. You also can't get the regular M3 with all-wheel drive. That, again, is only available on the M3 competition. By the way, BMW says going for the manual knocks off 50 pounds over the 8-speed automatic that's available in the M3 competition. So the regular M3 with the manual transmission will do 0 to 60 in just 4.1 seconds. The M3 competition will do it in 3.8 seconds. You have a top speed of 155 miles an hour, which can be increased to 180 if you go for the performance tires, and the top speed limiter is increased. Fuel economy wise, you're working with 16 city and 23 highway. You have a 15.6 gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a couple of days of driving, a total of 16.3 miles a gallon. Now let's talk about the looks. In my opinion, the new M3 looks much better than the M4. Why? Honestly, it just looks beefier. I've always been a fan of the M3 sedan over the M4 coupe. Starting from the front end, the first thing you'll notice, I said I'm not gonna mention it or talk about it. So yeah, from the front end, the first thing you'll notice, let's just say it's this really nice sculpted hood. Right above that, you'll notice a carbon fiber roof, which is standard. And if you end up going for the moonroof option, that carbon fiber roof gets deleted. You've got these really beefy front fenders, and then the side profile is highlighted towards the back with beefy wheel arches. Now from the back, this thing looks outstanding. Even though I'm a huge fan of the rear end of the M4, I think this looks much better. The taillights give it a really classy look, and then the rear trunk lid spoiler and the twin exhaust pipes along with the black rear diffuser, I have it in carbon fiber here, makes this thing look really, really tough. Without mentioning the obvious design flaw in the front, which I said we're not going to talk about, I think this looks better than the Audi RS5 Sportback and the Mercedes AMG C63. Now, cargo capacity wise, you're working with 13 cubic feet, and I guess that's okay if you care about cargo capacity. I don't know, it's all right. On the inside, the interior game is pretty much the same as the current Gen 3 series and 4 series with a few M touches here and there. You have this really thick M leather steering wheel with the obvious red M mode buttons. And besides that, there are not many M logos in here besides on the seats right here, which light up at nighttime when you unlock it. The M3 Competition gets a giant logo right here surrounded by polished black trim. The regular M3 is saved from any polished black with this matte black material, which I prefer a lot more. So I would go for the M3 base just for that. Now the seats here on my test model are the standard M Sport seats, and they are very, very comfortable, and you also get heated front seats as standard. Now if you want, you can upgrade to those really cool M carbon bucket seats, which I think look outstanding, but you'll have to pay an extra $3,800. But also remember, once you do, you won't be able to add ventilated seats. So if you like cool air on your back, then stick to the standard seats right here. So when it comes to rear legroom, you're working with 35.6 inches of room back here. I'm about 6 foot tall. That's my seating position. As you can see, it's really not that great. Tech-wise, you're working with a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster display, which has 2 viewing modes. I prefer this M mode right here. This looks really cool. And then you have the iDrive 7 infotainment system in this 10.25-inch touchscreen display, which actually I feel is kind of small. But with the M3, you do get standard navigation. You also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And if you want a deeper dive into iDrive 7, check out my last few BMW reviews. I go into great detail into iDrive 7. So if you want to learn more about it, go check those out. Now, before I give you my opinion on how it is to drive the new M3, let me point out a few random things that I love to show all of you. You have 2 cup holders right there, and that's it. You don't have any cup holders for your passengers at all. And I will say BMW cup holders tend to be a little tight, but with the manual transmission, it's even more difficult to squeeze your drink back in there. This is a medium-sized drink from Dunkin' Donuts, and I popped the lid off a couple times, so that sucks. Here are what the keys look like to the new M3. Pretty standard BMW key with the M colors on the side. Also, non-MM models also get the same key. Door open and close from the outside and from the inside. Pretty solid. It's a BMW, what'd you expect? And of course, let's do a quick indicator and horn sound test here on the 2021 BMW M3. Indicator first. Same old BMW indicator. Now for the horn sound, let me just lower my window. Pretty solid. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2021 BMW M3, let me give you my opinion on whether or not if it's worth it buying it over the competition. I mean, the rivals and the competition. All right, let's get to it. Well, let me make this easy for you. If you're looking for a manual transmission in this specific segment, you should buy this because you really don't have a choice. The Audi RS5 and the AMG C63 don't offer a manual transmission, so not a tough decision here at all. Should you go for the M3 competition over this? Well, only if you don't know how to drive a manual transmission and if you're looking for all-wheel drive. And that's because the non-competition M3 only comes with the 6-speed manual. You don't have an option for an 8-speed automatic, and it only comes in rear-wheel drive. You cannot get all-wheel drive in the regular M3. So yeah, if you want all-wheel drive and you want an automatic transmission, you have to pay the extra money and go for the M3 competition, which is not even available with the manual transmission. Now, what about if you don't care about all that and you just want a proper performance car and you're stuck between the 2 M3s? Is there any difference in terms of performance? The M3 competition will go from 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. This will do it in 4.1 seconds. And when it comes to handling, there's really not that much difference here at all. I would just save my money and go for the regular M3, seeing as the options in the packages can get very expensive, and you can get an M3 now that can cross the $100,000 mark without any hesitation. Not only will you enjoy driving a manual car, I have a weird feeling that we're never going to see a manual BMW M3 ever again. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Peace. And man, I'm gonna miss this car. And I really wish I got to try that launch control. Maybe I will someday when the weather decides to stop being so crazy.